Does anybody have any wins this week that they want to share?
Sure, I'll go. I had a very strange week. I had a possible COVID exposure, and so I had to quarantine myself until my test came back negative, which means I had to reschedule all of my clients. I actually ended up sleeping in my office one night, but I did not drink wine, and I had cookie plates. I was happy about that.
Look at you. That's awesome.
It was a weird
You
week.
get super extra bonus points for doing that when you have a stressful season, for sure.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, yay. I think I only have one announcement tonight. So if you have not signed up for the coaching weekends, make sure you sign up for that. I'm trying to think. Sarah can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we got an email about it, and the link was also posted, or there was a thing posted in Facebook that if you commented on Sarah was going to send you the link. Sarah with her really awesome sunglasses. But yeah, the Maryland one is September 17th through 19th, and that's in something Kent Island. And then the second one is in Washington at the end of October, and I can't remember the dates of that. I want to say it's like the 20th to the 22nd, but I could be wrong. But it's gonna be so amazing, guys. Like, let me tell you how on fire you will be after hanging out with everybody in real life and like getting to be basically, I'm like imagining, and this is just me, my imagination, that we're gonna be like a camp and we're all gonna be like slumber partying it up and eating together and like it's gonna be amazing. So if you have not reserved your spot, I don't know if there are any spots left actually, but I just wanted to announce it because there's only 30 spots available for each one. So make sure that you get one of those spots if you want it, because it's limited. And we're going to be like just super on fire and potent. When you leave, you're just going to like want to set the world on fire. It's going to be amazing. So that is my only announcement. Leading up to this week, we have talked about hunger. We have talked about how our bodies feels when, are we feeling hungry? Are we not feeling hungry? We've talked about feeling full. We've talked about like feeling these things in our bodies. And so this week, what we're going to talk about is, how does our body feel like physically? Do we feel, how do we feel during and after exercise? Are we feeling recovered? Are we feeling sore? Are we feeling like really super sore, or just like, I use that muscle sore? Are we feeling energized? Are we feeling tired? Are we feeling like, how are we feeling? How's our sleep? How's our recovery? So that's what we're going to talk about this week. I would love to hear from you guys. Like, do you have anything specifically that comes to mind immediately? Like, I feel like this, and I'm just not sure if that's the way it should feel that way. I will share that, like, I'm bad at recovery. That is something that I have to be super intentional about. I build in like a yoga day into my week, and I also make sure that I'm really intentional with like warming my body up before a workout so that my muscles and everything is like warm before I try to do anything really serious. And then I also make sure that I cool down. Cool down has been something that I have skipped a lot until I got really intentional about doing it again. I always cool down my people, like if I want to teach boot camp and stuff, but that's something that I would really skip. And my rest days are usually like an active rest day where I do walking or I do yoga or something like that and really stretch all my muscles out. And I used to do it very intentionally, and like you could mark your calendar with the days that I did yoga. And I really felt like a lot of my muscle comp came from doing yoga and making sure that my muscles were properly recovered. But that's something that I've really let slip too. Like on my rest day, sometimes I just won't do anything except for just like walk or like normal exercise things. I also used to think, and you guys let me know if you think this too, that you have to be super, super sore after a good workout. And if you aren't, you didn't get a good workout. I used to think that. I used to think like if I didn't have like physical discomfort trying to get up and down off the toilet, then my leg day was garbage. Like, and that's like literally how I felt. And I really worried, like I would I had a client message me last week about that. Like, oh, I'm not that sore after yesterday, but I felt like I was giving it all I had in it. And I was like, it is a fallacy that you have to be unbearably sore after a workout. I mean, you should feel like you used your muscles, but you don't have to be like debilitating to have gotten a very good workout. And then again, like we could go down that whole rabbit hole of like, what's a good workout mean? Are we pushing ourselves enough? So we could go all different ways. But do you have a recovery day? Maybe are you taking too many recovery days? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how our bodies feel in and around exercise. And I want to throw out there, as an exercise therapist, I am 100% on the like, no pain, no gain is no, we don't do that. Pain is not, we don't work through pain. Pain is not muscle burn. Muscle burn is different, but we do not work through pain. You can get a very good workout with no pain at all. In fact, that is the goal. And so if you start to have pain in certain movements, step it back and do a modified version of that. There is no shame in modifying a movement to do it in a way that feels good to your body. And then eventually you'll be able to do that full movement. But if you hurt yourself doing the full movement before you're ready, you're not going to get to that movement. So, okay, now I will stop. And I want to hear from you guys. How do you feel in and around your exercise?
Well, when you were talking about no pain, no gain, that was something I had to learn last spring because I was just determined to get my body back from cancer. So I was just pushing it, even though it was sore, wasn't making me feel good. And then I connected with Tori and she's like, oh, no. And she's been helping me ever since. And I'm now just starting to get into the strength training that I was trying to push my body into a year ago, but now it's not like killing me. So it is important to listen to your body and not push through what I learned.
Yeah. It's super important. I'm actually hiring Tori to rehab my husband after his hip replacement because I'm worried that because they didn't give him physical therapy. And I was like, and I'm just afraid that he's going to get too excited about feeling good and he's just going to jump into doing what he's used to doing. So I was like, I really want to hire Tori to coach you. Would you be willing to do that? And he was. So I'm really glad about that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Tori will get him into shape.
Yeah. If y'all don't know who we're talking about, Tori Clover, she's a part of the Fitme family and I think she's going to become a Fitme coach as well, but she's I don't know what she calls herself. But I call her a movement specialist when I tell my people about her. And I actually recommend my one-on-one people to her when I get stumped on like movement. And she's like, she does these unbelievable things with like basically factory resetting your body, where she trains your brain to reconnect to the muscles and the correct patterns that they're supposed to be. It's very interesting. But foundational movement, and that goes along with like the no pain, no gain stuff like Nikki was talking about.
Yeah, she calls it reflexive muscle training. Basically, she's like explaining to me how your brain and your body, like your brain kind of disconnects when going through stuff, and then your muscles kind of start doing jobs for other muscles. So it's just getting everything to work again as they should.
Yeah.
There's a therapist here that I send my people to as well that does something similar, that when I can't figure it out, I'm like, you need to go see him because he'll make it magic for you.
Mm-hmm. It's super interesting. But to the takeaway from all of that is like, if you're having discomfort, if you're having pain around movement, if you're feeling something that you're like, I don't think this feels right, trust your body. Trust your body. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right. Or you might be like trying to force a movement that your body doesn't want to do. And so, so building that foundational strength around that movement is really, really important. And that can be a lot of times we get, especially, and I was absolutely guilty of this when I first started. You get really excited and you want to jump in and like do the hardest thing and like push yourself and like, I can do it. And then you're like dying and you don't really know why, or you think that that's normal. You think you're supposed to because everybody's talking about how much, how sore they are after blah, 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 or whatever. But it doesn't have to be that way. And it really shouldn't be that way. But we're so trained, society trains us to push through and like push ourselves so hard. And like, you have to be all in. And if you're not all in, then like, screw you or whatever. But really making sure that we're taking care of our body and like meeting ourselves right where we are and not trying to compete with anybody else, because you are your own person. Like, you are unique and special. And so there's no shame at all starting right where you are and right where your body feels good, because you'll actually grow faster. Like Nikki was saying, like she's now doing the stuff that she wanted to do a year ago, but her body wasn't ready for it. And she listened. What about sleep and rest? Do you guys take rest days? Do you find it difficult to take rest days?
I take a rest day on Saturday because I try to do intentional movement all the other 6 days. I have an active recovery day in the middle of the week, and then I do 5 days of actual either strength training and or CrossFit inspired stuff. So I take those 2 days.
That's good. That's what I do. Does anyone feel like maybe you've gotten comfortable in the routine that you're in and you need to kind of change it up? Because muscle confusion is actually like a thing, like switching up exercises and movements to kind of throw your muscles off, to jumpstart, your body, or maybe you aren't pushing yourself hard enough. It's all just about self-awareness. And so bringing awareness to your body, kind of like I was saying with what we talked about with hunger and fullness, really being in tune with our body. Do you feel in tune with your body? Do you feel like it's something that you struggle with, to tune into your body and how you feel? I'm just going to sit here.
I would go back to recovery, maybe listening to your body that way. There was a time in the last couple of years where I was doing CrossFit very vigorously. And I all of a sudden woke up one day and realized I feel like crap and I'm not recovering. And so I had to readjust how many days I went and how hard I worked on those days. I had to sit in the car. I literally had to sit in the car before I went in and said, I'm not competing against anybody. I'm not competing against anybody. I'm not competing against anybody. And so I had to lower weights on some things, and there were some things I just stopped doing because they weren't good for me. And then I started feeling a lot better.
That's good. It's a good job listening to your body. Has anyone ever experienced where you pushed and pushed and pushed and didn't take a rest day, and then you got sick, or you like crashed, like your body forced you? Because your body will do it. If you don't choose to rest, your body will make you rest. You will feel completely burned out. Like, who's experienced that piece of it? Looks like Ashley's about to talk because she just turned her screen on. And Angie said she did.
I mean, I've been to the point where like I totally burned myself out in everything and ended up having a full-on like depression, mental health crash. And it was really hard for me to even work out in those times because it was overwhelming for my system. And like all the loud sounds and all the things that you would think, when people tell you these are the things that you should do to make yourself feel better. Like in that time, I actually really needed to take a step back and do something totally different. And CrossFit used to be the thing that like made me feel really good and I really looked forward to going to. And that's when I kind of started to focus more on like yoga and stuff, just because I had to find something different to move my body, because it wasn't just a physical thing, like it really impacted my mental health too.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Who else? Who else has experienced that?
Okay, I'll share
Yay.
an injury. I also was a CrossFitter. I would joke that I'm a recovering.
Hmm.
Blew out my knee a couple years now, and tried after surgery to return and build back up, and it was incredibly frustrating. And similar to Ashley, it just became a mental thing. And even when I'm only competing against myself, I'm zeroing out on my PRs and rebuilding from scratch. It just became something that felt like torture instead of something that felt like the thing I used to love. And since that time, I've tried a lot of different things. I've had a lot of life to balance, and I feel like this is still something I'm trying and retrying to figure out the thing that works for me. So I feel like I'm a bit in the thick of it still. I haven't come up with the resolution for the thing that's going to be right for me, but still more in discovery mode. Trying to find the right balance, right kind of activity to fill my cup instead of feeling like my kids are in the middle of a water fight. So if it gets loud, that's going to actually be the right thing and not cause additional stress and thing for me to work, think more things for me to work through with my body.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you for sharing that. Coming off of an injury and trying to recover is hard. And it's an ego thing too. Like you guys are saying, it's like that mental difficulty to go through and be like, oh my gosh, I could do this, a year ago. What's wrong with me? This is ridiculous. It's hard. It's really hard. But I like what you said, Sarah, about like finding movement that like works for you. You're trying to find that new thing that you enjoy. And it's good. Definitely talk to your coach about that. If anybody else is experiencing that, like you're kind of going through the motions, but it doesn't feel good or it doesn't feel right, or you're like struggling and you're just not sure what path to take. And you're kind of just like, try this, and all over the place. Talk to your coach about it. Like we would love to help you guys help figure out like what your new plan is and what kind of movement to try next, maybe something unique.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be like traditional exercise.
I agree with like I have always hated or not looked forward to doing movement for any amount of time. I was like, I don't understand how there are people that just like to do this stuff. Like, who does this and like enjoys it? And then I realized it's just because it depends on the thing that you like. Some people like to play soccer. I really like to play volleyball. I like yoga. I like going on walks. I like hiking. I like Olympic lifting, and I like CrossFit at times, but I'm not going to be somebody that's going to go to the gym and lift weights by myself. Really, like that's just not going to be something that I'm excited to do. But definitely when I started I've done pole dancing classes, that was fun. But finding those like little niche classes definitely makes it more exciting. It's not just about, I feel like the other stuff kind of makes it just about losing weight and burning calories versus this is fun to do. Like when you were a kid, you would just run around because it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did that. What was it? It was a couple months ago where we talked about what's a fun movement that you've always wanted to be able to do. And Maritza, actually, she's not on this call right now, but she inspired me to dance, to learn how to tap dance. So I started learning how to tap dance just because it would be fun. And it's a really fun way to move my body. And it feels different. Like, let me tell you how sore I am after tap dancing. And so, like, is there anything out there you're like, I've always wanted to learn how to do this? Like, Tabitha, she roller skates, or she like went roller skating with her friends, and that was around that same time too. So like, think of things that are fun, like go play outside, like go to the monkey bars or something. You know, it doesn't have to be what we would consider like a traditional like workout to still get. That's why the goal is always movement, and do what feels good for you and what makes you feel good, and kind of feeds that inner child too. Is good.
I've always wanted to learn to tap too. I should do a class sometime. I think it would be fun.
You should. And then we
But
could
that's
learn a
one
routine
thing-
together, and we could like virtually tap dance together.
There you go. But that's one thing I liked about Fitme when I first joined, is one of the first things we learned in like the 12-week foundation weeks was do a movement that you enjoy. Like I've never heard anyone say that before. Like I've always heard like people running or CrossFit thinking, oh, I should be doing that if I want to be fit, but I have no interest in doing those things. But as you can see, I'm walking. I love walking. So I love step aerobics. I love yoga. So I realized that if I just do things I love, it's going to make getting movement in much easier. And I loved playing Frisbee with my friends growing up. So I've been teaching my son. We play in the evenings in the front yard.
That's awesome. You should have like, you should get like an ultimate Frisbee like team, like group together. Kickball. Has anybody played kickball as an adult? That shit's fun.
As a
Like,
kid,
yeah. Well, I mean, like they have kickball leagues, like for real. I've not been in one, but I have played as an adult, and it's really fun.
But
So just stuff like that.
I just want to point out that, Nikki, you also made it like a family activity. So now you're not just moving, but you're like spending time together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're teaching your kid to move in a way that feels good and is fun. So that's really, you know, a lot of what we're doing is like teaching our kids by example, like how to grow up and not be, you know, stagnant, and how to be healthy now, or like when they grow up, so that they don't have to relearn like we all did. And so I love that. Sarah and or Margie, you guys are both massage therapists, and I'm curious to see, or to hear if you have any feedback as far as like rest or like recouping our bodies and muscles, and like why that's important from like a physiological standpoint. If either of you were interested in sharing that.
Do you have something, Sarah?
Well, I was just going to
Put
say
you
a
guys
lot
on
of
the
the
spot.
times, when you just work out real hard, or you're constantly working out and you don't have that recovery time, then your muscles just get stuck. When you were talking about muscle memory, they just get stuck and tight, and then all of a sudden you, like a lot of the in CrossFit, we see shoulder injuries, and it's really just because they haven't stretched, and not just stretching like, like before. I mean, talking about like opening up those muscles and getting those muscles moving. It's really imperative for protecting injuries and protecting joints. But also, it's so easy to say that, but even as a massage therapist, we are the worst at getting that done too.
Yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah, my
Did you have
brother
anything
just
you wanna
started
add?
dating a massage therapist, so I've been consistently getting massages these last couple months because we do trades like every other
Oh,
week. So it's
nice.
like
Yeah.
the most massages I've ever gotten because it's my brother's girlfriend. So it's
Yeah.
been nice. But for me, I was thinking more of it as like we have like our parasympathetic, we have our sympathetic nervous system, and I just second guessed. I might mix these up, but I believe it's the sympathetic nervous system. That's the fight or flight. That's like the decision making that we're constantly in all day, all the time. So when you get body work like massage or a meditation or yoga or a hot bath, something like that, it calms our parasympathetic nervous system, which helps with digestion and relaxation and bringing our body back to homeostasis. Even a good stretch would be good for that. It's just like so important to have that balance of the two. But that's what came to mind for me.
It's interesting that you brought up digestion, because also our gut health is all connected to that. And then our immune system and our hormones both live in our gut. And our hormones also reset when we sleep. And so all of these things, like, we kind of think of them as all separate, but it all works together. It's like a spider web of balance that we have to cultivate. It's so important. And that's important for weight loss too. Sleep is super important for weight loss and for our like health, overall health. So if weight loss is our goal, or if anything is our goal, we need to be prioritizing sleep and rest, restorative movement, all those things, and finding that balance. And if you struggle with that, that is our target for the week, to reach out to your coach, to kind of like tune into your body and think about everything that we talked about. Like, are you doing any kind of restorative movement? Are you resting enough? Are you sleeping? Do you maybe need to do more challenging workouts? Like, are you challenging your body? Do you feel kind of stagnant? Like, just kind of overall analyze your physical being and share that with your coach and kind of troubleshoot it, or brainstorm how it can be better, because it can always be better. We're always learning and growing and changing in all different seasons.
On the note of restorative, and then like the sympathetic and parasympathetic and sleeping, and really good app is called Insight Timer, INSIGHT Timer. It's totally free, and it has thousands and thousands of meditations that range from like 1 minute to 60 minutes. There's music, there's kids meditation, there's bedtime meditation, all kinds of good stuff there's yoga, all kinds of stuff for restorative.
I wrote that down. Thank you for that. I know you've talked about that before, but I always forget to write it down. So I wrote it down this time.
Yesterday was 90 days meditating for me. Oh, that's my win for the week.
Woo! That's awesome. Love it.
Headspace is
Love
another app.
it.
Use
What
the
is
last-
it? You cut out space? Headspace.
Yeah. My employer actually got it for employees after it started. And so since it was free, I decided to give it a shot. And I actually use the sleep casts almost every night now in order to help fall asleep faster. It's just something it's like one of those sweet monotone storytelling by the stream kind of voices. And it really helps just shut my brain up and help me get without the, to-do list running on repeat in your brain while you just lay there and think about how many hours until you're so.
We use Simple Habit. It's a free one too. You can upgrade it. But I started using it. My doctor suggested meditation, and it's to the point that my husband will ask me when we get into bed, do you want to do one of your things? As he calls it. And we'll play it, and it'll be like a guided meditation. And this thing, and you can go on it. It could be for sleep, for stress, morning routine, traffic. It's like whatever you're going through or you need it for, you just go into that category, and it will help you out. It'll guide you into that meditation.
What was that called again?
Simple Habit.
I wrote all of those down.
Yeah, I'm gonna check
That's
out
awesome.
the first one.
Thank you guys for
Insight.
sharing those. Yeah. Does anybody have anything to share before we wrap up? I'm going to take our picture. So if you want to show your beautiful smiling face, I would love to see it. Prove that I did this. All right. Any more faces coming? There's Margie. All right. Yay. There's Lisa. Marlena must be running or walking. We'll give her a pass. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. Thank you guys. I love you all so much. Don't forget to talk to your coaches tomorrow. Check in with them with your target for the week, the analyzing your body and sharing it with them. And as always, we are here for you. Let us know if you need anything. There's Emmett. He's here for you too.
Thanks,
Bye.
Lauren.
Bye.
Bye, Emmett.
Are you